If they knew who we hit, they'd burn the whole block down. And it all started with one job that was supposed to change everything. We want to get rich. We barely got out alive. You're watching Tales from the Block. Hit that like button and subscribe. I got real stories from the streets for you. They say the block only gives you two ways out, a grave or a cage. But back then, I thought there was a third one. Money. I used to wake up every morning to the same soundtrack. Sirens in the distance, dogs barking through the gates, and the low rumble of an old Impala rolling past the corner. That's the sound of South Central when the sun's barely up, tired, mean, and hungry. I'd open the blinds and see the same view. Graffiti on the wall across the street, a busted payphone, and Tone sitting on the curb rolling a blunt like it was his morning prayer. Tone wasn't just a homie. He was my brother in everything but blood. We came up together, same block, same school, same pain. He was the loud one, the one who laughed in the middle of gunfire like he didn't care if today was his last day. He used to say, "If I go out, Saint, I'm going out counting money, not bullets." And that's exactly what started this whole mess. Kane was different. He was the kind of dude who didn't talk much, but when he did, people listened. Always clean, always calm, always 2 steps ahead. If Tone was the fire, Kane was the ice. He used to move weight for some heavy hitters, but after a while he got tired of splitting cuts. Said he wanted to make his own lane, one move to set us up forever, he called it. And then there was Lil Spinks. Kid was barely 20, skinny, jittery, always tapping his fingers like he was rapping to himself. He was Tone's cousin, wanted to prove he wasn't just some corner boy. We all got someone like that on the block. Young, reckless, trying too hard to be a legend before they even live. That night, Kane called us to the back of the car wash. It was late, past 1 a.m. Steam still rose from the asphalt. The air smelled like burnt rubber and weed. Kane stood under the flickering light, hoodie up, cigarette glowing in the dark. He didn't waste time. "Yo, I gotta move," he said, voice low but sharp. Tone looked up, already smirking. "What kind of move?" "The kind that changes your zip code," Kane said. That's how he introduced it. No details, just danger and promise. We followed him inside, into one of the empty wash bays where his black Tahoe was parked. He popped the trunk and pulled out a duffel bag. Maps, photos, and a burner phone. "This right here," he said, tapping the photo, "is a stash house over on Vernon and 83rd. Belongs to a crew called themselves Los Reyes. They move coke for the Mexicans, but the spot ain't their main hub. It's a side stash, cash heavy, low security." "How low?" I asked. 3 guys inside, maybe 4. They rotate. Only one night, guard out front. The rest are inside, usually high. Tone laughed. "Man, you talking like we hit in a liquor store. You sure this ain't suicide?" Kane looked him dead in the eyes. "I'm sure they won't expect us. Nobody hits the dealers. Not around here. That's why this works. Silencio, Homti." We all knew the code. You don't rob the people who feed the streets. But we were past codes, past fear. The block had been dry for months, and most of us were surviving off scraps. Tone's mom was sick. My little sister needed tuition money. Kane knew how to talk to desperation, and that night, we all listened. He laid out the plan clean. In at 2:30 a.m., we parked 2 blocks down, masks on, gloves tight. We moved quick, grabbed the duffels, hit the back exit, dip into the alley, and vanish before they even call it in. I got a buyer lined up already. Cash only. We split 4 ways. "How much?" Tone asked. Kane smiled, slow, confident. "At least $500,000. $500,000. That number echoed in my head like a song I couldn't turn off. $500,000 meant freedom. A clean slate. A chance to stop looking over my shoulder every day. Tone grinned. "SHD, say less." "I'm in." Spinks hesitated. "Yo, we talking about hitting dealers, bro. You know what they do to snitches and thieves." Tone slapped the back of his head. "Ain't nobody snitching. We ghosts, fool." Kane turned to me. "What about you, Saint?" I stared at that photo. An ordinary house, bars on the windows, a faded blue car in the driveway. Didn't look like $500,000. But then again, nothing ever did. I nodded. I'm in. Kane zipped up the bag. Good. We hit Friday night. The days leading up to it felt unreal. Every siren made my stomach tighten. Every knock on the door felt like it came too hard. I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing my reflection in the mirror, tried to imagine what I'd look like rich, but all I saw was a man who already looked guilty. Tone was the opposite. Loud, hyped, couldn't stop talking about what he'd buy first. New rims, chain thick enough to blind a man. Then I'm taking mom to Vegas. She never been nowhere, bro. Spinks just kept quiet, rolling his lighter over and over. Kane was calm. Too calm. He had that quiet focus of a man who already made peace with what might happen. The night came faster than I wanted. We met behind an abandoned motel off Florence, neutral ground. Tone had the van, blacked out, plates switched. Kane brought the tools, lockpicks, crowbars, a sawed-off just in case. Spinks had the duffel bags, fresh gloves, and a look in his eyes that said he wasn't ready, no matter how much he pretended to be. Before we rolled, Kane said, "No names, no hesitation, no mercy. We in and out in 5. Tone crossed himself, half joking. Amen to that. We pulled up 2 blocks from the house. Engine off, street lights flickering. It was quiet, too quiet. The kind of silence that makes you feel like the city's holding its breath. Dogs barked in the distance. A TV echoed from somewhere down the block. Then Kane's whisper cut through the dark. Masks on. I remember the smell of my gloves, rubber, and sweat. The mask itched against my face. Every step toward that house felt like walking into my own grave. But once you're in motion, there's no stopping. That's the rule of the streets. Hesitation kills. Tone Pride opened the side gate. We moved through the backyard. Trash bins, broken glass, a flickering bulb by the back door. Kane checked the handle, unlocked. He looked back at us, nodded once, and pushed the door open. Inside, the air was thick with smoke, that sour chemical smell of cheap weed and burnt powder. A TV blared low. 2 guys sat on the couch, half asleep, pistols on the table. Another was in the kitchen, counting money. The 4th, the guard, stood near the front door, bored, scrolling through his phone. Kane motioned, 3 fingers. We spread out. Everything after that moved in flashes. Tone lunged first, gun up, shouting, "Get down." Spinks froze at the doorway, eyes wide. Kane went straight for the kitchen guy, slammed him into the wall. I moved for the couch, kicked the table, money scattering like snow. The room exploded with panic, shouts, curses, gunfire. The guard fired first, missed. Tone dropped him with 1 shot. Glass shattered, TV cracked, somebody screamed. Then silence, except for the buzzing of a broken light. I could taste blood and smoke in the air. My hands were shaking. Tone was breathing heavy, eyes wild. We good. Kane didn't even flinch. He was already stacking cash into the duffels. Move, he said. They'll send more. We grabbed what we could, stacks, jewelry, a couple bags that smelled like coke. Then we ran. Out the back, down the alley, hearts pounding like gunfire in our chests. Every sound felt like sirens. Every shadow looked like someone chasing. We dove into the van, slammed the doors, and peeled out. Nobody spoke for a full minute. The city blurred by, red lights, flashing neon, the world spinning like we weren't part of it anymore. Then Tone started laughing. Holy SHD, bro. We did it. We really did it. Spinks just stared out the window, pale as a ghost. Kane looked back from the front seat. We ain't celebrate till we count. Warehouse. 10 minutes. We stashed the van in an old auto shop that Kane's cousin owned. Inside, under the buzz of a single bulb, we dumped the bags onto a metal table. Stacks on stacks. More money than I'd ever seen in my life. Tone whistled. Goddamn, bro. We rich. Kane started sorting it, calm like he'd done this 100 times. But something felt off. I couldn't shake it. That eerie stillness after chaos. I looked at the window, saw my reflection, mask half pulled down, eyes hollow. That's when I noticed Spinks pacing. What's wrong, little man? Tone said. Spinks's voice cracked. You kill that guard, bro. Tone shrugged. He was reaching, but he didn't even shoot. Kane's tone cut through the air. He would've. Spinks shook his head. You don't get it. My cousin, he runs with Los Reyes. He gonna know it was us. The room went cold. Tone froze. I felt my stomach drop. Kane slowly lifted his head. What did you just say? Spinks looked like he wanted to disappear. I ain't mean to. I didn't know it was them, bro. I swear. But he gon' find out. They gon' come for us. Tone slammed the table. You should have said something. I ain't know till now. Spinks cried. Kane's jaw tightened. He stood up slow, eyes sharp. You brought heat to my plan. No. Tone stepped between them. Yo, chill, man, he family. Kane's eyes flicked between us. Family don't get you killed. The tension was thick enough to choke on. I could see the look in Kane's eyes, that cold calculation, the kind that decides who lives and who doesn't. I stepped forward. Enough. We already did it. Ain't no going back now. We lay low, split it, and vanish. Nobody talks, nobody moves. Kane stared at me for a long second, then nodded. 3 days. We divide in 3 days. Everyone go ghost. Tone exhaled, wiping sweat from his forehead. Bet, I'ma take Spinks home. Kane gathered the bags back up, except one he kept for himself. Don't be seen together. You see a black Escalade near your block. Run. That was the first sign it was all going wrong. We didn't even make it 3 days. By the next night, the whole hood was talking. Word was Los Reyes got hit. For bodies, 500,000 gone. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said it was the Crips. Others said it was cops. Nobody knew the truth yet. Tone called me from a payphone, whispering, Bro, they rolling through the block of skin questions. Heavy hitters. You seen Kane? Nah, I said. Stay low. I'm trying to, but Spinks acting weird. He been crying all day, talking about he messed up. Keep him close, I told him. And keep your mouth shut. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time a car passed outside, I thought it was them. Every shadow looked like a gun barrel. That money, that sweet promise of freedom, had turned into a death sentence. And deep down, I knew we weren't ghosts. We left footprints, and somebody, somewhere, was already following them. The next morning, the streets felt different. Quieter, like the city itself was holding its breath, waiting for something bad to happen. Even the birds weren't singing, just the distant hum of traffic and a police chopper circling slow over the east side. I sat by my window, blinds half closed, watching smoke rise from a trash can down the alley. Every sound felt like a threat. Every face on the street looked like it knew something. That's the thing about the block. News travels faster than bullets. And once a story gets out, it don't matter what's true. People choose what they want to believe. And that week, everybody believed the same thing. Los Reyes got robbed by someone local. I kept the duffel bag under my bed, wrapped in a blanket. I hadn't even touched the money. Couldn't. It didn't feel like freedom anymore. It felt like a time bomb. Around noon, my phone buzzed, unknown number. I let it ring twice before answering. Kane, a pause, then his calm voice. They know. I froze. What you mean they know? I've been watching. Couple Reyes cars cruise past my block slow. They ain't a skin questions no more. They looking. My throat went dry. Who else knows? I don't think they got our names. Not yet, but they close. I looked out the window again, saw a black SUV creeping past the corner. Tinted windows. No plats. Heart pounding, I ducked back behind the curtain. You see that? Kane asked. Yeah, I whispered. They on every block right now. You need to move that cash. I can't, bro, too risky. He paused, then said, Tone and Spinks, they with you? Nah, I ain't seen them since last night. Kane sighed. Find them, before someone else does. Then he hung up. I called Tone 3 times before he picked up. Yo, he said, voice low. Where you at? Home. You, round the corner. Spinks bugging out. What you mean? He said he seen one of the Reyes at the gas station last night. Said the dude stared him down like he already knew. Did he follow him? I don't think so, but Spinks shook. Keeps talking about leaving the city. Tell him that's the dumbest move he could make. You run, they chase. You hide, they guess. Tone laughed nervously. Bro, that's easy for you to say. He ain't sleep since we hit that house. Meet me, I said. Same car wash. 1 hour. When they pulled up, I could tell from the look on Spinks's face he wasn't built for this kind of pressure. Eyes red, jaw tight, fingers twitching. Tone looked tired too, but he hit it better. He always did. I shut the gate behind them. You still got the bag? I asked. Tone nodded. Yeah, stashed at Mom's crib, under the floorboards. I frowned. You serious? That's the first place they'll check if SHD hits the fan. She don't even know it's there, bro. Don't matter. You move in it tonight. Spinks was pacing again. Yo, what if they already know? What if they following us right now? I grabbed his shoulder. Look at me. Nobody knows yet, but they will if you keep acting like this. He shook his head, eyes glassy. Man, I can't do this. I ain't built for war, Saint. Tone stepped in. Then what, huh? You gonna confess? You gonna write Bloods did it on your forehead? Spinks didn't answer. Kane showed up 10 minutes later. Holding quiet, engine off like a ghost. He stepped out, hoodie up, face calm as ever, but his eyes were hard. When Kane looked like that, you knew something heavy was coming. They made their move, he said. Ow, I asked. He dropped a folded newspaper on the hood. Headline read, Local man found dead in South Central Alley. Suspected gang retaliation. It was the guard, the same one Tone shot. They had his face plastered all over the front page, and underneath a smaller photo. The house, taped off, cops everywhere. Cops think it's gang-related, Kane said. They ain't wrong. Tone rubbed his head. So what's the play? Kane's jaw tightened. We disappear. Few weeks. Change numbers. Move our bags separate. Spinks's voice cracked. Man, I told y'all this was bad juju. Kane's gaze snapped to him. You told us after. That don't count. Spinks swallowed hard. I could feel it, the tension building between them. Tone stepped up, tried to defuse it. Enough. We got what we wanted. Let's just split and chill. Kane nodded slow. You got your share? Yeah. Then burn the rest. Tone blinked. What? Anything that ties back. Gloves, clothes, the van gone. Tone hesitated. That van was my cousin's. Then tell your cousin it ain't his no more. That night, the city felt heavier than usual. Every car, backfired, sounded like a gunshot. I burned my clothes in a barrel behind the old church. The smoke smelled like melted rubber and guilt. Halfway through, I heard footsteps. Kane stepped out the shadows, hands in his pockets. You follow me now? I said, just making sure you did what you said. I poked the fire with a stick. You don't trust me? He looked me dead in the eyes. I don't trust anybody. Not right now. I smirked. That why you still carry in that sawed-off? He didn't answer, just stared into the flames. After a moment, he said quietly, You ever think about what comes next? Next? Yeah, after all this. The block, the life, the blood we spill. Where it ends. I stared at him. Where it always ends, I said. Grave or jail. He nodded slow. That's why I'm out after this. For real. You said that before. He glanced at me. This time I mean it. He walked away, leaving me there with the fire crackling and my thoughts burning with it. I didn't know it then, but that was the last time I'd see Kane calm. 2 nights later, everything exploded. I was at my mom's old apartment, cleaning my pistol when Tone called. His voice was frantic. Saint, they got Spinks. I froze. What? Who? The Reyes, bro. They snatched him up outside the store. His aunt said 2 cars boxed him in. Ain't nobody seen him since. My stomach dropped. Where you at? At my mom's. I'm hiding the bag right now. Stay there. Don't move. I ain't sitting still, Saint. They gon' come for me next. Tone. He hung up. I grabbed my jacket, gun tucked in my waist, and ran out into the night. The block was buzzing. People whispering, cars cruising slow, tension thick in the air. I could feel it. The whole hood was waiting for something to go down. I reached Tone's mom's place. The front door was cracked open. That's when I knew something was wrong. I pushed it open slow, gun raised. The living room was a mess. Drawers open, furniture flipped, blood on the floor. Tone. No answer. Then I saw him, sitting against the wall, shirt torn, face bruised, eyes wide. He was alive, barely. I dropped down beside him. "Joe, who did this?" He coughed, spitting blood. "They came, 2 cars, masks, asked for Kane." "Kane?" "Yeah." Said he took something from them that wasn't part of the deal. "What deal?" He looked up at me, tears mixing with blood. "You ain't here." Kane double-crossed us. My heart stopped. "What you talking about?" Tone grabbed my shirt. "That $500,000? It wasn't all theirs. He skimmed an extra $250 from another plug. The Mexicans. That's why they looking for us, Saint. They think we ain't on it." I felt the room spin. "You sure?" He nodded weakly. "I heard it from them, bro. They knew his name. They said he played both sides." Before I could say another word, glass shattered, gunfire ripped through the window. I dove behind the couch, dragging Tone with me. Bullets chewed through the walls, the air filled with dust and splinters. Tone screamed in pain. Another hit. I fired back blind, just to keep them off. Then silence. I crawled over. Tone's eyes were open, but he wasn't breathing. Just like that, my brother was gone. I don't remember leaving the house. I just remember running. Feet pounding the pavement, sirens wailing somewhere far off. My chest burned, my head screamed. Tone was dead. Spinks was missing. Keen leet. I ended up under the overpass by the tracks, the place we used to smoke when we were kids. That's where I called Kane. He answered on the first ring. "Where are you?" he said. "You tell me, bro. Why the hell Los Reyes think you stole from them?" He was silent for a moment. Then, "Meet me. Alone. Where?" "You know the warehouse." "Bring the money," I said. "I already got it." "Then bring the truth." He hung up. I drove to the warehouse with my gun in my lap, headlights off. The city lights bled red and blue through the cracks in the windshield. Every mile felt heavier. When I pulled up, Kane's Tahoe was already there, engine idling. He stood by the hood, hands in his pockets, calm as ever. But I could see it, the edge in his eyes, the kind you get when you know too much blood's already been spilled. The duffel bag sat on the ground between us. "You lied," I said. He didn't flinch. "About what?" "You took more than we planned." "I took what was there." "You took their money, Kane. That's why Tone's dead." For the first time, his calm cracked. "He's what?" "Gone." He looked away, jaw clenching. "Fuck." I stepped closer. "You knew this would happen." "No," he said quietly. "I knew we had one shot. I didn't know they'd move this fast. Don't play dumb. You sold us out." He looked back at me. That cold look again. "You think I wanted this?" he said. "You think I wanted Spinks to run his mouth or Tone to pull that trigger? I planned every detail, Saint. Every second. But y'all don't listen. You planned a setup." I shouted. He stepped forward, voice low but sharp. "I planned survival." We stared each other down. Then I noticed the car lights in the distance. 2 sets, rolling slow toward the warehouse. "Who's that?" I said. Kane didn't answer. My finger tightened on the trigger. "You called them." "No, UF Kin called them." Before he could answer, the first bullet hit the wall beside me. Then chaos. The air filled with gunfire and screams. Kane ducked behind his Tahoe, firing back. I dropped behind a crate, heart pounding. I could see them now, silhouettes with rifles, moving like shadows through the dust. Los Reyes. The warehouse echoed with the sound of death. Bullets ripping through metal, glass shattering, engines revving outside. I fired till the slide clicked empty. Smoke filled the air, thick and choking. Then, silence again. I crawled toward the back, gun trembling in my hand. Ken was down by the Tahoe, clutching his side, blood soaking his hoodie. He looked up at me, gasping. "Get the bag?" I shook my head. "I ain't leaving you." He coughed, spitting blood. "You already did." Then he laughed, a cold, broken laugh that died on his lips. I heard tires screech outside. More cars. No time. I grabbed one duffel and ran through the back door into the night. I didn't stop running till dawn. By then, the bag felt heavier than my soul. I hid it under the old bridge near Compton Creek, the same spot we used to fish cans out the water for change. When the sun came up, I sat there in the dirt, staring at my reflection in the water, bloody, bruised, broken. And for the first time in my life, I felt empty. All that money, all that noise, all those plans gone. Tone was dead. Spinks was probably gone too. Kane, the man who promised us freedom, was lying in a pool of his own blood, surrounded by cash he couldn't spend. And me? I was still here, still breathing, still cursed. By the second day, the news was everywhere. Warehouse shootout leaves 4 dead. Police said it was gang retaliation, but the streets knew the truth. The Bloods were quiet. The Reyes were hunting. And me? I was a ghost with a target on his back. Every night, I'd hear footsteps outside my door. Every dream, I'd see Tone's face, not the one laughing on the block, but the one dying in my arms. I couldn't even spend $1 of that money. Every bill felt like blood, and yet, I couldn't let it go either, because no matter how cursed it was all I had left. Proof that it all happened. Proof that I survived. They say the streets never forget. They don't forgive either. You take from them, they take more. And what they took from me, my brothers, my peace, my name, can't be bought back. All for $500,000 that was never even ours. All for a dream that turned to ash before sunrise. I wanted to get rich. Now I just want to sleep without hearing gunfire in my head. But I can't, because deep down, I know the story ain't over. Not till I finish what Kane started. Not till I find the ones who took Tone from me. And not till every drop of blood spilled that night gets paid back, one way or another. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw bodies twitching on that concrete floor, blood crawling toward the dollar stacks like it was trying to buy forgiveness. Tone was out cold on my couch, his arms still in that makeshift cast, mumbling in his sleep. Spinks was sitting in the kitchen, eyes wide open, staring at a cereal box he wasn't eating. The air smelled like gunpowder and guilt. Even after a shower, it clung to me. The smoke, the sweat, the fear. The news hadn't dropped anything yet, but we knew it would. South Central didn't keep secrets long. By morning, somebody's cousin, somebody's girl, somebody's plug would be talking. And when that word hit the streets, that a crew of Bloods had robbed the wrong dealers, there wouldn't be anywhere to hide. Kane came through around 7 a.m., calm as ever. Same gray hoodie, same focused stare. He looked at the bags stacked by the door, the money, the guns, the weight we took from the stash house, and just nodded. "You did good," he said, voice flat. "Good," Tone croaked, sitting up. "You call this good?" My arm's damn near broken. Spinks almost caught one in the head. Kane cut him off. "But you're alive. That's more than I expected." That line hit me wrong. Like he didn't care about what it cost. I stepped closer. "What's next?" He smirked a little. "Next, we let it cool off. Lay low a few days. Then I move the product, clean the cash, and we all eat." "How much we talking?" Spinks asked quietly. Kane knelt down, unzipped one of the bags. Bundles of hundreds, still wrapped tight. 350, maybe 400K, plus what's in the bricks. "It's a damn fortune, boys." Tone whistled low. "Ain't no damn fortune if we dead." Kane zipped the bag shut again. "You let me worry about that." He said it with that tone, the kind that didn't invite questions. But my gut twisted. I didn't trust calm anymore. Not after what we'd done. By that night, the streets were already buzzing. Someone hit the stash spot on Avalon. For bodies, execution style. No names dropped, but everybody had theories. Some said it was a Mexican crew. Some said road Crips. Nobody pointed at us yet, but it was only a matter of time. Tone and I sat in his Impala outside the liquor store, just listening to the city hum. Sirens somewhere far, dogs barking, music from a passing car rattling the windows. "You ever think we cursed?" Tone said after a while. "What you mean? Every time we try to come up, somebody dies. Every damn time. Rememberdilo. Remember Renz?" I sighed. "Yeah, but this time's different." He laughed, that dry, broken laugh. "That's what we always say." The front door of the store opened. Kane walked out, new duffel in hand. He looked like he hadn't blinked in hours. "We're moving this tonight," he said, before anyone connects the dots. Tone looked at me. I looked back. It was too soon, too risky. But Kane was the one calling shots. Always was. We followed him across town, past flickering streetlights, through back alleys, until we hit a warehouse near the train yard. Quiet spot. Too quiet. Inside, 2 cars already waiting. Black SUVs, windows tinted. Kane walked right up to them like he'd been here before. I could feel the hair on my neck rise. "What's this?" I whispered to Tone. He shrugged. "I don't like it." A tall dude stepped out from one of the SUVs. Light skin, sharp fade, cold eyes. Not Bloods, not anyone I recognized. He nodded at Kane, then at us. "You brought it." Kane gestured for us to bring the bags. "Who the hell are these dudes?" Tone muttered under his breath. "Buyers," Kane said. "They're moving the cash and product up north." But I caught it, that flicker in his eyes. The one he gets when he's lying. We handed over the bags. The tall dude unzipped one, flipped through the cash, tested the bricks. "Clean," he said. "We'll take all of it." Then came the part that made my stomach drop. He handed Kane a small envelope. That was it. Kane pocketed it fast. I stepped forward. "Hold up. What's that?" "Payment," Kane said. "Payment? For 400K and 3 bodies?" That little envelope. He squared up. "You don't understand the business." "Saint, I'm doing what's necessary to keep us breathing." Tone got out the car, voice rising. "You sold us out, didn't you?" The tall dude's hand drifted toward his waistband. His boys followed. In that second, it was like time froze, sweat crawling down my back, heart thudding like a drum. I grabbed Tone by the shoulder. "Not here," I hissed. "Not now." Kane looked between us, then back at the buyers. "Deal's done. We'll be ghosts by morning." And just like that, he walked out. We drove back in silence. Tone was shaking with rage. "That snake." He pocketed our cut. I saw it in his eyes. "He's got something planned," I said, though I didn't even believe it myself. When we got to my place, Spinks was pacing the living room, phone in hand. "Yo, we got a problem," he said. The word's out. They found out it was us. "Ow," I snapped. He looked terrified. "Somebody snitched, bro. They're saying a Bloods crew hit the stash. Cops already raided the corner house on 48th. Tone threw his hat across the room. "It's Kane. He set us up." And that's when it hit me, the envelope. The quiet deal. The way he kept saying we'll be ghosts. He didn't mean hide out. He meant disappear. I grabbed my gun and keys. "Where you going?" Spinks asked. "To find Kane." The night swallowed me whole. I found him where I figured he'd be. His girl's spot-off Western, top-floor apartment overlooking the streetlights. I didn't knock, just kicked the door in. Kane was sitting on the couch, calm as always, gun already on his lap. "I was expecting you. Then you know why I'm here." He nodded slowly. "You think I sold you out?" "I don't think. I know." He leaned forward, elbows on knees. "You think I want this? You think I planned for it to go this way? The only reason you're breathing right now is because I made that deal. They were going to come for all of us. The buyers, the dealers, the block, they all talk. That money was hot. I gave it up so we could live. I didn't lower my gun. And our cut." He gave a tired laugh. "What cut? Ain't no clean money left." That's when I noticed the packed duffel by the door. "You running?" He looked me dead in the eye. "I am surviving." Everything in me wanted to pull that trigger. The rage, the betrayal, the death of every man we left behind. But something stopped me. Maybe the part of me that still saw Kane as my brother. "You could have told us," I said quietly. "And what then?" Tone would have shot me on the spot. Spinks would have panicked. We all dead. I did what I had to. I took a step closer. "You ain't my brother no more." Before he could answer, the window shattered. Gunfire ripped through the room. Automatic bursts, glass exploding, drywall splintering. Kane dubbed behind the couch. I hit the floor. Outside, headlights flashed. SUVs, same ones from the warehouse. "They found us." Kane yelled. Bullets tore through the walls. The girl screamed from the bedroom. Kane fired back blindly, yelling curses. I crawled toward the kitchen, heart slamming in my chest. I could smell blood, smoke, burnt wood. Kane was yelling my name, Saint. Get out the back, but it was too late. The door burst open. One of the shooters came through, mask on, rifle raised. Instinct took over. I fired first. One shot, then two more. He dropped. Kane grabbed his duffel, bolted through the back hallway. I followed, hearing footsteps pounding behind us. We stumbled down the stairwell, out into the alley. The night air hit like ice. Sirens were already on the way. Somebody must have called it in. Kane stopped beside a dumpster, catching his breath. "You good?" he asked. "Do I look good?" I snapped. He almost smiled. "You alive. That's something." Before I could answer, a car screeched to a stop at the alley's mouth, Tone's Impala. He leaned out the window, yelling, "Get in." We jumped in as bullets started flying again, shattering glass. Tone floored it. The engine roared, tires screaming. "Who the hell are these guys?" he shouted. "Same buyers from the warehouse," I said. Kane's deal went bad. Kane slammed his fist against the dashboard. "They tracked me." Tone glared at him. "You think?" The car fishtailed around a corner. Cops' sirens growing closer behind us. The whole city was awake now. Red and blue lights flashing, dogs barking, chaos echoing through the block. We hit the freeway ramp, speed climbing, headlights blurring past. Kane was reloading. Tone was bleeding from his shoulder. I was trying to breathe through the panic. "This ain't over," Tone muttered. "Not till one of us is gone." We made it to an abandoned lot behind an old auto shop. Parked, headlights off, hearts racing. Tone leaned his head back, wincing in pain. "We can't keep running. We need to end this." I looked at Kane. "You know who they are? Where they're based?" He hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, near Alameda. They move weight out of garage." Tone turned the key again. "Then we end it tonight." I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell him it was suicide, but something in me, that same burning need for closure, wouldn't let it go. So we drove. The warehouse sat under the freeway bridge, half hidden, no lights, just the hum of generators and the faint glow from a window slit. We parked 2 blocks away, checked our guns, and moved on foot. Tone led, crouched low. Kane stayed close, whispering directions. My pulse felt like it was going to split my skull. Inside, we could hear voices low, tense in Spanish and English mixed. The smell of gasoline, gun oil, money. Tone looked at me. "You ready?" "No," I said, "but we doing it anyway." He grinned. "That's my brother." Then he kicked the door. The room exploded with noise, gunfire, shouting, chaos. Muzzle flashes lit the walls like lightning. I dove behind a crate, firing back at shadows. Kane moved like a ghost, popping off rounds, yelling for cover. Bodies dropped. The air was thick with smoke and pain. Then I saw him, the tall dude from the first deal. He was climbing the stairs to a side office, carrying a duffel. I followed. Each step echoed like judgment. When I reached the top, he was waiting, gun already raised. "You made a big mistake, homie," he said. "So did you." I answered. We both fired. The world went white. When I came to, everything was quiet. My head ringing, chest burning. The office window was shattered. The tall dude was slumped against the wall, blood pooling under him. Down below, I saw Tone limping, shouting something I couldn't hear. Kane was gone. Gone. I stumbled down the stairs, body screaming with pain. "Where's Kane?" Tone shook his head. He bounced, took the car and dipped. I stared at the open garage door. Empty street, fading taillights. The money was gone too. We sat in the wreckage till dawn, 2 ghosts surrounded by death. Tone's arm was broken again, blood seeping through his shirt. I rapped it the best I could. Neither of us spoke. When the sun came up, the cops would come. When they did, I'd be the only one left to tell it. Tone looked at me one last time. "He was your boy, Saint." "I know. What you gonna do?" I looked at the horizon, the city skyline, red light rising over gray streets. "Find him," I said. "And then what?" "Then it's over." Tone nodded. "Then make sure it really is." But nothing's ever really over. Not out here. Not on these streets. I didn't even feel the blood on my hands anymore. By the time the sun came up, it had dried into my skin like it belonged there. Tone was fading fast. I sat with him in the passenger seat of an old Honda I jacked near the tracks, trying to keep him conscious. His eyes rolled back every few minutes, but he'd mumble something. Curse words, prayers, nonsense. "Stay with me, bro," I whispered, pressing a towel to his shoulder wound. "Don't close your eyes." He cracked a weak smile. "I ain't going out easy, Saint. You know me." I nodded, but deep down I knew he was lying. I dropped him off an old safe house off Gage Avenue, a place we used to crash and back when we were still nobodies. The walls were cracked, the floors smelled like mold and dust, but it was hidden. He grabbed my wrist before I left. "You find him, don't talk. Just end it." "I know. Promise me." "I promise." By the time I hit the streets again, the whole city felt like it was watching me. Every siren made my heart skip. Every car that slowed down felt like a setup. The block had changed overnight. Whispers, looks, people crossing the street when they saw me coming. News of the warehouse shootout had spread. They said a gang war was about to blow. They said a Bloods crew went rogue. They said my name. I needed to move fast. I hit up a few old contacts, junkies, corner kids, even a mechanic who used to fix Kane's ride. Everyone had something to say, but nothing solid. Then I found it, a rumor that Kane had been spotted near Inglewood, at a motel by the airport, driving the same black Charger he loved like a child. I didn't even pack. I just loaded my Glock, grabbed a hoodie, and drove. The motel was the kind of place where dreams came to die. Flickering neon sign, peeling paint, broken ice machine humming in the corner. The clerk barely looked up when I walked in. "Room 23, I said, sliding him a 20. "He's still there." He hesitated, then nodded. "Checked in last night. Left his car out back." I slipped out the side door, heart pounding. The Charger was there, same red stripe, same dent in the fender. Kane's. I moved slow, checked the window, blinds half closed, TV flickering inside. I could see him, sitting on the edge of the bed, counting stacks of cash. My blood boiled. I gripped the gun tighter, finger trembling on the trigger. All I had to do was open the door and end it. One pull, one flash, justice. But then I saw the photo on the nightstand. A little boy, maybe 6 or 7, smiling, missing a front tooth. Kane's son. And for the first time in days, I hesitated. That split second cost me everything. The door swung open from the inside. Kane stepped out, gun already drawn, aimed right at me. "Been waiting on you," he said. We stood there in that dim hallway, two ghosts with nothing left to lose. "You should have stayed gone," he said, voice steady, "and let you walk with our blood on your hands." He laughed bitterly. "Our blood? Saint, you act like you ain't part of this. You think you're the hero now? You pull that trigger same as me. Difference is, I didn't sell us out. You took a slow step forward. You really believe that? You think I wanted any of this?" He looked tired. Not scared, just hollow. "They were coming for us," he said. "You saw what happened. I made a deal so we could live. That's it. Tone's dying because of you." Something flickered in his eyes. Guilt, maybe? Tone made his own choices. We all did. That's when I snapped. I swung. Fist cracked his jaw. He stumbled back, hit the wall. I charged him again, tackled him through the door. We crashed into the room, knocking over the lamp, cash scattering everywhere like confetti from hell. He grabbed my wrist, tried to twist the gun away. We rolled, fists flying, both grunting like animals. He got on top first, pressed the barrel against my cheek. "I don't want to do this," he growled. "Then don't." He hesitated. That's all I needed. I slammed my knee up, hit his ribs, twisted free, grabbed the gun, but before I could aim, he kicked it away. We both dove for it. 1 second stretched into eternity. Then bang. Silence. Smoke hung in the air, thick and cruel. Kane froze, his eyes wide. He looked down, blood blooming across his shirt. My hand was shaking, the gun heavy and hot. He dropped to his knees, coughing. You finally did it." I stood there, chest heaving. Didn't have to be this way. He tried to laugh, but choked on blood. "You always thought you were different, Saint. Thought you could play the streets and still keep your soul clean." I knelt beside him. "I didn't want this." He smiled weakly. "You never wanted it, but you always end up here." He reached into his jacket. I tensed, but he only pulled out that same photo. Give this to my son. Then his hand went limp. I sat there for what felt like hours. Just me, Kane, and the hum of the motel TV. Outside, a plane roared overhead, people flying somewhere far away, somewhere clean. I stared at the blood on my hands, the gun on the carpet. The photo of that kid smiling like life was still simple. And for the first time since the heist, I cried. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet tears that burned all the way down. Because deep down, I knew Kane was right. We all think we're the exception. We all think we can dance with the devil and not catch fire. But the block don't forgive. It don't forget. I buried Kane myself. Not at a cemetery, but behind an old church where we used to hang as kids. The sky was gray, the air cold. I wrapped the photo in plastic and placed it on top of the dirt. Your boy's gonna know who you were, I whispered. Not the monster. The man. Then I left. When I got back to the safe house, Tone was gone. The couch was empty, blood on the floor. The back door open. My heart sank. I followed the trail outside, droplets leading toward the street. Then I saw the tire marks. Fresh. Somebody had come for him. I started calling his name, my voice echoing down the block. Tone. Joe. Tone. No answer. I ran for hours. Hit every alley, every corner, every house we ever crashed at. Nothing. Finally, I got a call. Unknown number. I answered breathless. Saint, a voice said. If you want your boy, come to the old basketball court. The line went dead. The court was deep in the projects, surrounded by graffiti and broken lights. It used to be full of kids. Now it was just silence. Tone was there, tied to a chair near the center, blood dripping from his nose. 3 men standing around him. Not cops, not dealers, enemies. The leader, a tall, bald man with gold teeth and cold eyes, stepped forward. You must be Saint. Who the hell are you? The man whose money you stole. Everything went still. You killed my cousin at the stash house, he said. You killed my men at the warehouse. You think you can take from me and walk free? I said nothing. He smiled. You got 2 choices. You die quick, or you watch your friend die slow. Tone lifted his head, one eye swollen shut. Don't do it. Bro ain't worth it. I looked at him, then back at the boss. Let him go. He got nothing to do with this. The man laughed. You bloods always talk about loyalty. Let's see how far it goes. He pulled out a gun and put to Tone's head. I moved without thinking. Gun up, trigger pulled. The bullet caught him in the neck. He dropped instantly. His men opened fire. I dove behind the bleachers, bullets chewing through metal. The air filled with smoke, echo chaos. I fired back. 1, 2, 3. Bodies dropped. When the shooting stopped, the court was a war zone. Tone was slumped forward, barely breathing. I ran to him, untied his hands. You good? He tried to speak, but coughed up blood. Told you not to come. Shut up. You ain't dying here. I dragged him to the car, threw him in the back seat, and floored it. We didn't make it far. By the time we hit Florence Avenue, Tone was cold. His eyes stared at nothing. His mouth half open, like he was still trying to say something. I pulled over, turned off the engine, and just sat there. The city outside was still alive. Sirens, laughter, engines, the hum of a million lives that didn't care about ours. I whispered, I kept the promise. But it didn't feel like victory. It felt like ashes. By morning, I was back at the church. 2 graves now. One for Kane, one for Tone. Both covered in the same dirt. I stood between them, wind whipping through the fence, and realized something I've been running from since this all started. The streets don't take prisoners. They just wait. You can play the game as long as you want, but sooner or later, you lose. And the worst part? It ain't even when you die. It's when you're the only one left alive. I left LA that night. No would-be, no explanation. Just me, a car, and the road stretching out into nowhere. Every mile felt heavier. Every memory burned deeper. Sometimes I still hear their voices. Kane laughing, Tone yelling, Spinks talking big dreams. Sometimes I swear I see them in the rearview mirror. Red bandanas, smoke in the air, music thumping from the block. But when I turn around, it's always empty. The block don't love nobody. It just remembers. I was standing in the middle of the block where it all started. The air smelled like burnt rubber and ghost stories. The kind of silence that only happens after everything's already been taken. Sirens in the distance, red and blue bleeding across cracked concrete like the colors of a flag that never meant freedom for us. Tone was gone. Spinks was gone. Kane was gone. All that was left was me, Saint, and the ghosts of what we tried to build. The smoke was still rising from that trap house. The one that was supposed to make us rich. The one that turned brothers into enemies. The one that made the block remember our names. Not in glory, but in whispers. I could hear Tone's voice echoing in my head. We get in, get the cash, get out. Easy, easy. Nothing about this life ever was. I leaned against the hood of my car, my hands shaking, blood still drying on my knuckles. My hoodie torn, my bandana half-soaked. My whole body ached like the streets were pulling me underground one heartbeat at a time. I wanted to scream, but there was no one left to hear it. When the police finally cleared the scene, I dipped into the shadows, the same alleys that raised me. Every flickering streetlight felt like a memory playing on repeat. I passed the corner where we used to post up, the liquor store where Tone started half his beefs. The old mural of fallen blood, paint faded, bullet holes across his name. I stopped there, looked at it for a long time. Then I whispered, add 3 more names to that wall. The night wind hit me like a warning. A few hours later, I was back at my spot, a one-room apartment above an auto shop. My hideout, my coffin, whatever you want to call it. I shut the door, threw the gun on the table, and just stared at it. That same .45 that ended Tone. The same one that saved me from Kane. The same one that ruined everything we ever dreamed of. The clock on the wall ticked louder than my heartbeat. My reflection in the cracked mirror looked like a stranger. Eyes red, mouth dry, face hollow. The street had finally taken what it came for. My soul. I sat down on the edge of the bed and pulled out the bag. The money was still there. Bloodstained bills, stacked and dirty. All that chaos for this. Paper. I thought of Spinks. His laugh. The way his hands trembled before the heist. He never wanted this life, not really. He just didn't know any other. I thought of Kane. Always calm. Always in control. Until the night the streets showed him he wasn't God. And Tone. Tone was my brother, even when he was wrong. Especially when he was wrong. He used to say, if I die standing on my colors. Now he was lying face down in a puddle of blood that matched those same colors. 2 days passed before I dared to step outside again. The city was already talking. Word on the block was that we'd hit the wrong crew. Not just dealers, but connected suppliers. The kind of people you don't rob and expect to live. Someone spray painted on the wall outside my building. No saints on this block. I knew that was for me. I couldn't even bury my brothers. Couldn't light a candle. Couldn't show up at their funerals because the cops were asking questions and the streets wanted revenge. Every night, I'd sit by the window and listen to footsteps, to cars rolling slow, to voices whispering below. Paranoia became my only friend. One night, I heard a knock at the door. Not loud, just 2 slow taps. Then silence. My hand went straight to the gun. My breath froze. Who is it? No answer. I walked to the door, my steps light, my heart heavy. Looked through the peephole, nothing but darkness. Then a voice low, familiar. Saint, open up. I froze. It couldn't be. That voice was dead. I opened the door, and there he was. Kane, alive. His arm in a sling, bandaged shoulder, eyes darker than ever. He stepped inside without asking. I didn't stop him. For a long minute, we just stared at each other. 2 ghosts sharing the same air. You should have stayed dead, I finally said. He smirked. You should have finished the job. My finger brushed the gun, but I didn't draw it. He sat down at the table, looking at the money. So you kept it all to yourself, huh? I said nothing. He nodded slowly. Figures. You planned that setup, I said. You played us from the start. Ken looked up, eyes cold but honest. You think I planned for Tone to die? For Spinks to get shot in the face? Nah, Saint. I planned for us to win. You just didn't stick to the plan. I clenched my fists. You turn on us. He laughed, dry and bitter. I turned on the streets before they turned on me. But you still believe in loyalty, don't you? Like it means something out here. Without it, I said, we're nothing. Kane leaned forward. We are nothing. The silence after that hit harder than gunfire. I should have shot him right then. Should have ended the story where it started. One more body, one less ghost. But something inside me stopped. Maybe exhaustion, maybe guilt, maybe both. He looked at me one last time, then stood up. You do what you want with that cash. Burn it, spend it, die for it. I'm done. He walked out the door and disappeared into the night. And just like that, I was truly alone. Days turned into weeks. The heat died down, but the whispers didn't. Every corner I turned, someone was watching. Every shadow looked like payback. I started driving at night just to breathe. Past the old murals, past the broken blocks, past the lives that never got second chances. The city was a graveyard of dreams, and I was just another ghost trying to pretend I was still alive. Sometimes I'd park near the bridge and look down at the water. Thought about throwing the money in, ending it all right there. But then I'd hear Tone's voice again. We do this for the block. The block didn't love us back. One night, I stopped at the old basketball court. It was empty, except for a kid shooting hoops under the dim light. Couldn't have been older than 12. Red hoodie, same way I used to wear mine. I watched him for a while. Every shot he missed, he cursed under his breath. Every one he made, he smiled for just a second, like he still believed he could be something. Then I saw the tattoo on his forearm, a small B with a crown over it. Fresh ink. That's when it hit me. The cycle doesn't end. We just passed the curse down. I walked up to him. Yo, I said. He turned, nervous. What? You got heart, little man, I said. But this block don't got no love for you. He squinted. You blood. I nodded once. He smiled like that meant something. Then we family. I looked at him for a long second. Family don't always mean safe. He frowned, confused. I tossed him my chain. The one Tone gave me years back. Keep it, or throw it away. Your choice. But whatever you do, don't end up like us. He caught it, eyes wide. Who's US? I turned away. The ones who thought the streets would remember our names. That night, I went home and made my choice. I took the bag of cash, the gun, the old photos, everything that tied me to that world, and drove out to the edge of the city, an abandoned lot near the train tracks. Smoke in the distance, a lone streetlight buzzing above. I dug a hole with my bare hands until the dirt turned to mud. Then I threw it all in, the blood, the money, the memories. And when I covered it, I felt lighter. Not free, but empty enough to breathe again. Weeks later, I found a job at the auto shop downstairs. Fixing cars. Quiet, simple work. I kept my head down, stayed out of trouble. People still whispered, but I didn't care. Every now and then, I'd see Kane's face in the crowd. Or maybe it was just my mind playing tricks. I didn't go looking for him. Some stories don't need an ending. The block kept spinning. New faces, same pain. And me? I just watched from the sidelines, like a man who finally realized he was never meant to win this game. One evening, the kid from the court came by. He had my chain around his neck. He said, I stayed out. I took your advice. I smiled for the first time in months. Good. Keep it that way. He looked up. You missed them? Your brothers. I looked out at the setting sun, bleeding red over the rooftops. Every day, I said, but sometimes missing them is better than joining them. He nodded. You think the streets ever forget? I laughed softly. Nah, the streets don't forget. They just changed the names on the walls. That night, I stood on the roof of the shop, watching the city lights flicker. The same city that took everything from me and somehow left me breathing. I thought about that first night before the heist, when we still believed we could outsmart fate, when Tone was still joking, Spinks was still smiling, and Kane was still my brother. If I could go back, maybe I'd walk away. Maybe I wouldn't, because the truth is, out here, walking away doesn't erase the blood on your shoes. It just means you learn how to live with it. I wasn't supposed to survive, but I did. And maybe that's the cruelest part of all.